Hi guys, alright. This is a video response to the Jaggy Taggy that SteveBenway put on his Friday Talkie, his most recent Friday Talkie. I'm not going to give any kind of actual gameplay examples or anything like that. I just really want to talk about it from my point of view. My background, my console and computer background is basically 8-bit and 16-bit and some underdog 32-bit consoles as well. I've been brought up on Amigas, I've been brought up on Commodore machines, Spectrums, that kind of thing. I'm used to Jaggies. Everything that I've done, even the 3D games, you know, the pseudo 3D games, the Freescape games, on Spectrum, on Commodore, that kind of thing, Jaggies all the way. I have only up until the last few years have I enjoyed N64 gaming to any level, and there is a fuzziness there. I'm using AV, interestingly enough, rather than RF or anything like this, and I see that fuzziness, and I agree with Steve to some extent. However, it's game specific rather than image or television or PAL or NTSC specific. There are games that utilise the effect a lot better. You know, and there are games that are not as fuzzy. And in some cases, you'll find that the games where there's the frame rate needs to be kept high, you'll get that kind of fuzziness. And some like games actually use the fuzziness as a kind of gameplay mechanic. You know, and well, the worst example of it is like Castlevania with the fog and the fuzziness and things like that. Again, I'm only going by my experiences, so you know, I'm sure people might chip in here and say something different, but from my point of view, I love Jaggies. I love everything jagged. I love that kind of thing because it's what I'm used to. It's what I've been brought up on. The Commodore 64 graphics. I mean, the pixels are fat. The pixels are huge and fat. So the definition of the characters is totally different to like the Spectrum or any other machine, because the pixels are so big. In terms of like, even when you get into the 32-bit era, things like the Sega Saturn, I was brought up on the Sega Saturn, although I had access to a PlayStation, I never really got anything out of it. I never really enjoyed it. I never really got any kind of pleasure out of it as much as when I played the Sega Saturn. And the Sega Saturn had a little, well, although obviously the games spoke for themselves kind of thing, the alleged comments made by everybody who's experienced both the PlayStation and the Saturn are that obviously the Saturn's an underpowered had underpowered 3D. I've stringently disagreed with that and said it was basically, it required good programming to utilise the best out of the Sega Saturn, rather than the Saturn being underpowered. But obviously, again, it's all talk. I can't actually back it up with anything concrete. Pretty much every popular conversion, when it's Saturn versus PlayStation, the 3D on the Saturn was always weaker. So it's a shame I can't back up. I kind of wish I could back that up a little bit more. But I liked Saturn's inferior 3D. I liked the fact that it didn't do transparencies. I liked the fact that the 3D was slightly inferior. It made it interesting. I like underdog machines. I like to back the underdog, and I like machines that have something that other machines don't have. The Saturn, the architecture in the Saturn is very complicated, obviously, and the machine was essentially built as 2D primarily, so all of its ethos and thinking was all into the 2D kind of experience, and that's reflected on all the Capcom conversions of their arcade fighting games and things like that on the Saturn. They are tons better on the Saturn than they are on the PlayStation. Even up to the Dreamcast era, the Dreamcast PlayStation 2 era, I found myself looking at certain Dreamcast games, and certain Dreamcast games have some, you know, smoothness, fuzziness, whatever you want to describe it, and others have that kind of jagginess a little bit. Since I've got my VGA box, I'm kind of experiencing smooth Jaggies, if that makes any sense at all. Fuzzy Jaggies, possibly, is another, you know. But for me, I like computer graphics, and I associate computer graphics with retro computer graphics. I like sprites. I like thick pixels. I like Jaggies. I like polygons that look geometric. I like that kind of thing. I like retro. I embrace retro in every sense. And this, you know, every console, computer, oddity, handheld, whatever you want to describe it, that I've experienced has given me that. So in answer to Steve's question, I would love a world with Jaggies is a good place to be. There are positives to the other side of it, and I'm sure people would obviously have their opinions on that. However, for me, Jaggy. So yeah, there you go.